not being aggressive. I'd like to see him get some Hellions out, try to roast up some drones, maybe use some dropship, be creative with some dropship play. He does have one starport out with a reactor. We haven't seen any air units though. And he does have a factory with a tech lab, so I'm assuming that is going to be for siege tech. As I said before, he did get a scan off on these two Evo chambers, which are researching Carapace and Melee. Okay, so we do see a pretty big battle here. Mutalisk, Banelings, and Lings getting in amongst the Marauders. All of these infantry are going to go down. Stim getting researched just in the nick of time, but these Banelings are going to roll in, doing a lot of damage. Absolutely crippling the Terran player's army. PainUser here is left with absolutely nothing. He unloads all of his bunkers. He's going to need all of his Marines here to deal with these Mutalisks. Luckily for him, the Marines are 1-1. Mutalisks right now have 0 upgrades, so they are not going to be able to take these Marines. Marines are very powerful, as in Brood War, against Mutalisks. So not the most successful attack for MoonGlade, but he is keeping the Terran player on his toes. He's not allowing the Terran player to be aggressive, and that's all the important thing in StarCraft 2. It's all mind games, really. This SCB kind of a little bit stuck. It's all about mind games. If you can put your opponent on a defensive mindset, then you've already won half the battle, because the player cannot win playing defensively. So the Zerg player here is starting to saturate this expansion, and look at this, another command center in the middle of the intersection. What is up with PainUser and wanting to put them in the middle of the intersection? That's blocking traffic. But that one goes down pretty quickly, and these Mutalisks have definitely paid their price. And look at this, 2 dropships coming in, and it is going to stop the Evo chamber before upgrades could be completed. And then 2 dropships load up everything and get out of there, but no, the Mutalisks come in and take out the dropships, critically killing off a lot of units. Keep in mind, all the units inside the dropship die when the dropship goes down. So not the most successful job. It did take out an Evo chamber, but at the cost of losing 2 dropships as well as a lot of Marines and Marauders. Let's go ahead and take a look at the upgrades tab. I'd like to see, looks like weapons level 2 is being researched right now. No second engineering bay, and 2 more dropships, medevacs, I guess that's the proper term for them, being researched here. Another command center in the middle of the intersection, just chilling there. And I don't really know what the purpose of putting it here is, because the only other expansions are the 2 down to the south, so that's going to be a long floating distance. A command center being built right here too, so it looks like we're going to be in store for a very long macro game, as Mutalisks here going in against the factory. They're going to go straight for this factory. MoonGlade doesn't want to deal with any siege tanks. Wise decision here, going to take it out. Definitely delay any late game factory units. And MoonGlade here just starting to saturate and get up on 4 bases. So right now let's take a look at the overview and look at how many bases each player has. 4 base Zerg to 3 base Terran, potentially 4 base Terran unless this command center goes down, which it looks like it will. Income for the Zerg player is a little bit lower than the Terran, actually a lot lower than the Terran in terms of minerals, but in terms of gas it's the exact opposite, and the reason for that is mules. Mules rapidly increase the income in terms of minerals for Terrans, but oftentimes you'll find them lacking a lot of gas, and that's why Marine Marauder I feel like is so strong, because Marines can be spammed thanks to mules. They can just be built at will. Another command center getting taken out in the middle of nowhere. So far a lot of command centers have been denied. I just don't know why PainUser doesn't get them at the actual base, and maybe this is why. He's actually upgraded this to a planetary fortress. Now keep in mind, planetary fortress cannot lift off, and I really like the positioning of this planetary fortress here. It does do splash damage when it attacks, and this is gonna be like a huge roadblock for any Zerg ground units that try to run up in there. Meanwhile, a lot of Mutalisks MoonGlade. MoonGlade has almost 2 full control groups of Mutalisks, and they are going to take out all these Raxes. Potentially we could see all the Raxes go down, which is not a position PainUser wants to be in. He will not be able to reinforce and rebuild any more Marines and Marauders. Look at his main force here. It's just kind of walking up on the other side of the map. So we could be seeing, as Husky likes to call it, a base race here, as Mutalisks are going to completely devastate the Terran player's main base. But the Terran player, PainUser, is not responding in kind. He's just kind of chilling out here on the other side of the map. What is PainUser doing? Is he going to let all of his Raxes go down? I can't say I agree with PainUser's strategy here. The train of thought his mind's on. He just lost all of his Raxes, and that entire time he could have gone, taken out one of this base or this base, and he didn't do it. So now he's going to finally move out, but way delayed. Now these Mutalisks are going to come back, and they're not going to allow that to happen, although it could be a pretty close fight. I think MoonGlade does have enough Mutalisks to take out all these Marines, so there's not really that many. Losing a little bit of my breath there, and now a lot of Banelings rolling in. This is absolutely horrifying to see that many Banelings coming in when you are so Marine Marauder heavy, and even some Hydralisks getting in the mix. So finally we are seeing MoonGlade make a switch into a more dedicated ground army, and that entire Marine Marauder force absolutely got annihilated. I just don't know what PainUser is going to do in this position. He's really far behind right now, I think. Zerg player is still at 4 bases. Terran player is struggling to get his fourth base up and get some missile turrets as well to defend against the Mutalisks. But these Mutalisks are going to get in there and say, no, sorry, we're going to take out all your SCVs. All these transferring SCVs actually going to go down. So MoonGlade making great use of his Mutalisks here. They have definitely paid off their weight in terms of gold. They have done so much damage. They have been effective since mid-game all the way till now, denying expansions, killing command centers, killing off all these mules and SCVs. Wow, PainUser is spending a lot of his energy on mules, and almost all of them have gone down as well. So much action for these Mutalisks and so much action across the map. Great game so far, guys. Now, there are a lot of dropships in play, but I don't really see that many Marines and Marauders, and of course that's because PainUser had to rebuild all of his Raxes, and now building 6 Raxes, also floating one out, not sure what that's doing. But he is going to start rebuilding his Marine Marauder army. I'd almost like to see him go almost exclusively Marine heavy, since there are so many Mutalisks to combat. But we've seen Banelings so far be very effective against these Marines and Marauders, so it would be really nice to see Ravens, and I spoke too soon, there's the first Raven. So we are going to start seeing some Raven tech, and I really hope as soon as I click this we are going to see Hunter Seeker Missile. Indeed, it is Hunter Seeker Missile, and there is a fusion core here which allows that to be researched. So Hunter Seeker Missile is a great ability versus Mutalisks, and wow, we have Broodlords in play. There is just too much action going on for one person to commentate here. I haven't even seen the Hive tech switch yet. We don't even see any Infestors, so MoonGlade not going for what most Zerg players would consider standard against infantry, going for Infestors, just going to go straight for Broodlords, and there is absolutely nothing that the Terran player can do against Broodlords. Marines absolutely get suffocated by Broodlords and their Broodlings. The only thing we might see is some Ravens use some Hunter Seeker missiles, and PainUser here is going to say, screw it, I'm going to go for this expansion over here. He does kill off the hatchery, a la Broodward, killing off that hatchery very quickly with Stimpaks with only a handful of Marines. But the Mutalisks and Hydralisks and one roly-poly Baneling is going to come in and try to deal with that. 2 different battles going on across the map here, guys. Vikings finally coming into play. Vikings, of course, are a hard counter to the Broodlord, but with only 1 Viking and the Broodlord's natural 2 armor, that is going to take a long time to kill him off. And look at these Marines absolutely getting devastated by the Broodlings. Finally, MoonGlade forced to fall back. And the dropships, I believe, made it out of there with the majority. Yeah, the dropships made it out of there with the majority of the forces from attacking this expansion, but MoonGlade's just going to go ahead and rebuild that. So much action on the map, guys, as this is the majority of the Zerg player's army, and although it looks small, make no doubt about it, those Broodlords are extremely powerful. And I do hear a Hunter Seeker Missile going off right here. I don't know where it landed, unfortunately. I think the Ravens might have just run out of energy right now. Just a massive battle. Even the Planetary Fortress getting into the mix, blowing away those Broodlings as soon as they land. That might be the only thing keeping the Terran player in the game right now. And finally, a Viking is going to push the Zerg player back. MoonGlade also grabbing the gold here. But that gold might go down pretty soon here. Looking at both players, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the income tab. Zerg player now starting to get ahead in terms of minerals as well. So PainUser here needs to make something happen. He needs to deny this expansion. He absolutely cannot allow this gold expansion to go up, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Take it out with your Marines and Marauders. And this army is very Marauder heavy, but that's alright because I think the majority of Mutas have gone down. But more Broodlords on the way. My god, that's a lot of Broodlords. Though they take a long time to morph and they are slow, we also see Infestors, and so Infestors' fungal growth are very good against infantry. Though they take a long time, they are just so strong, and some Hydralisks left over here from the last battle. I think PainUser is going to take out this expansion as well. Why is he walking away? Snipe that expansion, take it down. There you go, exterminate the Zerg.